This is the best of the wrap-up show. A recap and behind-the-scenes look with Jon Hein and Gary Dell'Abate. The best of the wrap-up show begins now.
Hey, it's Gary Dell'Abate. On Monday's wrap-up show, we were talking about how Howard seems to be very irritated with Kathie Lee Gifford again. We sort of went over the feud and talked about whether there's ever any chance that they could be friends. I don't think there is.
We should start off with Kathie Lee, and I guess that came out of Lisa G came in to do her news segment and was talking about interviews and whatnot, and quickly it leads to people talking over each other, and then Howard just starts going off on Kathie Lee. Where'd that come from, Gary?
He must be watching it, because all you really need to do is watch that show to see what a train wreck it is. Because I watch it. Have you ever seen the parody they do on Saturday Night Live?
No.
It is really, really funny. I think it's Kristen Wiig. She's Kathie Lee, and she just pretends that she's been drinking. Because Kathie Lee acts on the show like she's been drinking. I don't think she has been. But, yeah, you know, they're all over the place. You can never figure out what's going on. So Howard must have seen it.
Is there anything Howard hates more than people talking over one another on a talk show? It drives him crazy.
Yeah.
Even on this show, I know it drives him nuts.
Well, that clip of The View was, you know, Howard was astonished that wasn't touched in any way. It's just everybody yelling at each other.
So why Kathie Lee? Why is he so angry about her?
Oh, she's she's an old fun standard. She's good to go back to. You know, who's sticking up for Kathie Lee?
He hasn't been there in a while, though.
I know.
It surprised me that he circled on back that way.
But, you know, because she's back to, you know, she left. The whole thing fell apart for her. She got a little, like, humble for a half a second, and now she's back doing the same shit, and I don't know. I guess just grabbed her the wrong way the day he saw her.
Well, what he said later in the program was, if she could just be real. I made a comment about how he's mended fences with Rosie could ever happen with Kathie Lee, and he said no, because she's never real on television, and until she crosses that bridge, he's not going anywhere near her.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a bizarre. I mean, we've just hammered the shit out of her, and I've called her for years to try to get her on the show. The thing that I remember was that, you know, and Howard talked about this on the air, after his divorce, she sent him a note. And he goes, you know, Kathie sent me this note. But then we looked at the note, and we realized it was supposed to be a note to say, hey, Howard, I'm sorry about what happened to you. But it was really all about her.
How so?
Well, it was mostly like, I'm really sorry to hear what happened. I've gone through divorce. And then it was a lot of God stuff. And since Howard's not really that into God, I think it's you're sort of putting your own will on somebody, telling them that God's going to save them. And, you know, Howard's not a God guy. It should be like, the great note would have been, hey, Howard, Kathie Lee, I know you've kicked me around in the past, but I see what you're going through, and I've been down that road before, and I wish her all the best. Done. Once you start bringing God into it, it's like she's, you know, I felt like we were natives in the jungle, and she was trying to convert us.
So even though she made the gesture, it didn't ring true.
Yeah, because she just didn't do it right.
Now, do you think Sam the cooking guy deserves an award, like Howard was saying?
I get where Sam the cooking guy was coming from. I don't know that I would. I'd probably just take that shit because, you know, whatever. But yeah, he's like, hey, I'm trying to talk. You know, you invited me here to give you a recipe. Let me get it out.
Do you think that's just a bad day, or ultimately that's what he was trying to do? They booked him to do something, and he was listening to the audience. He was trying to play to the audience instead of having these two yentas not shut up.
Yeah, listen, it rubbed him the wrong way, and he spoke his mind. I thought that was funny. I thought the etiquette person that they brought back should have, you know, said that they were both wrong instead of blaming it all on him.
Now, did you or Lisa G learn anything from Howard's advice when it comes to being a guest? Would you ever interrupt if all that chat started happening?
I'd probably just lean back and go, you know, you don't need me here. You know, I'd probably address it in some way, but I don't know that I'd be like, shut up.
Well, it's awkward because it's their game. You know, they've invited you and you're trying to be polite.
Yeah, I don't think I'd get involved.
Hey, Benji, were you surprised that Howard went off on Kathie Lee so much today?
Yeah, I was shocked by it.
I mean, he hasn't done it in a while.
Right. Yeah, no, yeah, he hasn't done it for a while. It's been about 2.5 years.
Did we wake you up?
Did it. It was back in 2006 in March. He was mad at her about some comments she made.
Do you think they could ever mend fences?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's as surprising as the Rosie thing is. I'm sure that if Kathie Lee and Howard's even said it himself, if they were at a party and they were talking, there might be something they would connect with, and I think I could definitely see that happen.
I mean, I think he's in a place now where he could connect with her, but I don't think they're... Howard and Rosie, I always thought were similar in the sense of, you know, that they both were driven and they were both laid it all on the line and were very honest. But Kathie Lee is the polar opposite of what Howard is on the air, so... But I think if they met each other at a party, they could be friendly to each other.
But I also think the opposite could happen, and Rosie and Craig Ferguson sort of talked about today, where Rosie and Howard could definitely have a split now.
Why?
I think it would be a little bit harder for it to happen. No, like some issue that they might both feel very strongly about, it could split them up.
Now, if you miss what we're talking about with Kathie Lee, here's a little bit of Howard's feelings towards what she had to say.
You know, whenever Beth does TV, she says to me, I said, like she did The View, she sat in one time, and I said, gee, you were quiet during that segment. She goes, they were all talking. I said, if everyone's talking, why would I talk? I said, that's evidently what they want in TV. They want people talking over one another.
You have to keep talking in order to get the attention.
Right. Doesn't matter if you're saying anything. Just keep talking.
Because that Hoda was back there going, just, you know, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. She couldn't stop saying it.
Yeah, like Tourette's. They blurt out everything. Keep it going. Listen to the first 10 seconds of that clip. The guy couldn't take it. He broke. And then Kathie Lee, they have their jobs because they don't talk to us like that. Well, you're being rude, Kathie Lee. Can't anyone stand up to Kathie Lee? She's the devil.
Now you're getting like Dennis James.
She's the devil. Want to make monkey love to Harold Stern. Please. Are you kidding me?
Jamie in Massachusetts, you're on the wrap-up show.
Hey, I believe. Good morning, guys. Anyway, I believe that Howard does the same thing when he interviews people. Like, he'll ask a question, and then the person would start answering, and then Howard would talk over him like he's not listening to the person giving the answer. You know what I'm saying? He drones, and sometimes he gets himself doing it.
See, I agree with you that Howard will sometimes talk over a person, but it's not like he's not listening and he's droning. If the person's going to start going off in a weird way and dancing around a question, he'll just ask another question to take him somewhere. He has no patience for people who aren't going to respond, so sometimes he does talk over because they're just not, doing the interview the way he wants it. He definitely controls an interview, no doubt.
Okay, well, I just noticed it a lot, something interesting. I'm like, Howard, let the person answer. You're driving me crazy. Come on. But okay.
All right, Jamie, thanks for calling in. Let's go to George. George, you're on the wrap-up show.
Did you say George?
Yes, George. How are you? How you been? Happy New Year.
Hello, fine, thanks. I wanted to ask, first of all, Howard really almost physically makes me sick with his constant ranting about Jay Leno. He goes on and on for ad nauseum. It really has a very negative effect on me. I want to ask about the Kathie Lee situation. When and how did his contempt for her start?
It wasn't any particular incident. It was just like almost everyone else in the country's contempt for her. They would watch her on the show, and she would get on and talk about her kids. And one day, I think it was with the kids. I remember Howard coming in one day and goes, God, she puts those kids on all the time. In fact, there was a Christmas episode where she made Cody dress up like a pilgrim. And I remember Howard was very annoyed by that. It was like one of those weird, and Howard was very annoyed by that. And I think once she brought the kids into it, but I mean, Howard wasn't alone. Everybody started to notice it all at once. It was a lot of me, my kids. I'm better than all of you. My kids are so amazing, that sort of thing.
I see. So it was her arrogance then that he didn't like?
I would say so.
Okay. Thank you.
Well,
Thanks, George.
Back in the 80s, and this is, I know more from Howard's book, wasn't Regis sort of like played with a lot?
What do you mean?
Like, wasn't Regis sort of made fun of a lot back in the 80s?
You mean on our show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but
and was she with him at that point?
Yeah.
Because I wonder if that sort of transferred from there. Like,
No, it was more like you said, Howard wasn't alone in his contempt. I mean, the whole country should have got behind it.
And Howard also thought Kathie Lee was pretty hot, too.
Yes.
And I guess that would fuel the fire even more.
It does. When you think a girl's hot and she's acting the way you don't like, it really pisses you off.
On Tuesday's wrap-up show, Ralph called in to expand on the argument that started on the Stern show earlier between him and Gary. Basically, Ralph hates the fact that Gary goes around calling himself a gadget expert and doesn't think he knows anything about gadgets. Ralph claims to be the one who really knows his shit and should be the one booked on Geraldo. Or better yet, listen to Geek Time. It was Techno Beaver versus Techno Berry. Check it out.
Hi, Ralphie.
Gadget Ralph, please.
That's not going to stick. You know that.
Oh yes, I've already. You can follow Gadget Ralph on Twitter, and I have the website. So I'm gonna roll with this.
All right.
Yeah, it's going to be a slow roll.
So Ralph, what do you think?
Gary, listen. I just thought it was. In all honesty, I think it's funny that you go there and I'm not saying I'm an expert. I didn't go on Geraldo and said I'm a gadget expert or something like that. But it sort of annoys me when people, the iPad thing in particular, is I just think it's so dumb to talk about something and to nag out on it when it's not even out. It's like 2 months away.
But Ralph,
at this point,
how could you of all people, how could you be upset about negging out?
Can I just finish my point?
Sure.
It's not even out yet. At this point, it might even have a camera in it, they're saying now. So, like, you might want to wait till it comes out.
But based on what we were told,
you also might want to know the difference between a megabyte and a gigabyte when you talk about memory.
I did. I said gigabytes.
You said megabyte.
I absolutely did not.
All right, pull the tape.
Why are you the only one hearing this?
I don't know.
But Ralph, here's the point. Based on.
But really, Gary.
But based on what we knew.
What?
You're asking me a question.
Yeah.
Based on what we knew at the time, even when I spoke about it on Sunday, there was no rumor of a camera. When they came out, there was no camera in it. There's a lot of things missing from it. And so you think that everybody that's really into this heard it and nobody is nothing but thrilled that it's coming out, that it's got everything that everybody wants, and there's nothing but happiness about this, right?
No, there's a difference between saying that and then saying it's a big stumble for them, and then going on to say they're going to sell a ton of them.
You can stumble and still sell a ton of something. And so you can make somebody that could make a movie that you don't think is the quality you expect, and it could still make $100 million.
But how is it?
Hold on a second. Can that happen?
How is it a stumble if it hasn't even come out and you haven't seen what it does?
But they told us what it does.
If you
Ralph,
go back,
are you talking about this on your show on Saturday?
Yeah, you want to do a point counterpoint?
No, because you're counterpointless.
Hey-oh.
But from what we're talking about, an item that everybody that has created a lot of excitement because the company's so big. So based on what we know, listen, it's like talking about a movie before it comes out. It's like talking about you're into so many different things, and you talk about everything before it's ready. That's part of what people do. Why are you so attached to the iPad?
I'm not attached to it.
You're like almost like upset.
I just think it's fun. If I'm sitting there as a gadget expert, I would know a little bit more about what I'm talking about.
What didn't I know?
If I'm going to go on a show and talk about the iPad,
what didn't
I'm going to know something, and maybe even
Ralph,
have touched
what didn't I know? I'm asking you.
You haven't touched it. You don't know what the operating
But nobody
system
has.
is. You don't know what it can do because the programs aren't even out yet. What's going to happen with this thing?
But Ralph,
it's like when the iPhone came out, people were like, "Well, it doesn't do this and doesn't do that." Meanwhile, it's like the biggest thing in the world. Same thing with an iPod.
So hold on a second, Ralph.
When the iPod came out, people said, "Why am I going to want to carry on that on music?" Now,
so here's the deal. I was asked to comment based on what I knew, and then when it comes out and they put one in my hand, I will try it out and comment again. But somebody called me on that day, and I am not the only person in the world that has commented on the iPad a day after it came out.
Well, how do you feel about the Generation 2 iPad?
You're following the lead of other stupid people who are saying there's something wrong with this thing that they haven't even seen yet.
Well, then the reverse has to be true. Then you can't laud it either until you know exactly what's on it and actually touch it.
That's right.
I'm not lauding it. I'm saying, I love that word. I'm not even sure what it means, but I'm going to use it all the time now.
If you're not lauding it, what are you doing, Ralph?
I'm sort of saying, hey, why don't you wait till the thing comes out and see how it is? Like you John, somebody said I was kissing your ass. I think you're just as dopey as Gary about this thing. You're wrong too.
On what?
How can you say
you're
we're
not sure what you can do with it?
On what? The iPad you're talking about?
Yeah.
Because based on the specs that are out there and based on what I've seen.
Yeah.
What specs?
Ralph, go to Apple's site. They have the specs on exactly what this is.
So what's wrong with the specs on it?
You know this. We've already discussed this. It doesn't have a camera. Yes, if it comes out and has a camera, then I was wrong about that.
Right. You want to hold up a big thing and take pictures. You don't have a low camera?
No, you do, but you want this to be sort of a be-all, everything sort of gadget. I mean, there's a bunch of little things about it, and also what I said was...
Jack of all trades, master of nothing.
Well, that sounds like you.
This is a whole new market. You don't even know what it's going to do, and I'm basing on Apple's track record of everything they come out with is revolutionary.
Ralph, name one thing... Okay, you want to get into this? Name one thing Apple's done that didn't work out, that you think sucks. Anything.
But since Steve Jobs came back?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay.
So
Well,
you're what I call an Apple.
Nothing. They changed design with the iMac. People used to have everyday objects that were boring and ugly to look at. He changed the way you look at things, furniture, everything. They're revolutionary.
They are absolutely revolutionary. They make beautiful stuff. They've got great software, okay? The Apple TV, not such a great product. They've had missteps, Ralph. They're not a perfect company.
But that's not a flop, and that could be integrated into other things. I'm not defending everything Apple.
What about that notebook laptop they put out, which weighed like a pound? Nobody bought it.
Right.
They're not perfect. They're a great company. I think they're fantastic. I think Jobs is brilliant. But don't pretend like everything they've done is so great. And if somebody has a contrary opinion, look, the only person who I know that's held an iPad was Stephen Colbert on the frickin' Grammys. Other than that, and the people who work there or at the announcement last week, that's it. So of course everyone's speculating. And look, I'd like nothing better than for you to be right about this and the iPad to be fantastic, but it's not. Apple stock is down since they announced this thing. You can't claim it's...
I know it's great. I hope it keeps going. I should shut up because I hope it keeps going down so I can buy more, and then when it comes out, and then you're all wrong, and it goes up to like $300.
But Ralph, actually, one of my points was that because I'm not saying that Apple sucks and everything they do sucks. I own a MacBook, I own a Mac computer, I own an iPod, I own an iTouch. I mean, everything. I'm saying that this company has put themselves in a position where expectations are so high for the quality of something that this didn't hit what everybody wanted. So far from what we know, from what they have told us, the information they have given us.
And let's get back to something that Gary said before, Ralph, when you weren't on the phone. He thinks that, among other things, you're jealous. Do you agree with that?
I'm not. I'm really not. And I don't... What was the other thing you were saying, Gary? You wonder if I respect your job or something like that?
Yeah, I wonder if sometimes you think it's like, oh, I could do that.
No, and you have that set in your mind for years, like that I want your job or something.
No. I didn't say you wanted my job. I'm saying you think that anybody could do my job. There's a big difference.
Well, listen, I don't think you're the only one who can do your job, but I think you work hard. I don't think you don't deserve to be there or something. I don't look at you and go, oh, Gary's a fool, and why has he got a job? Or I don't really know what you're saying in that respect.
Ralph, you've never spoken those words to me before.
Oh.
No, I think you do a great job. I mean, I know you're constantly on the phone with Howard. You're doing this. Yeah, I know you work really hard at your job, or you wouldn't have that job. And I know it's demanding too.
Well, sometimes I feel like you don't respect it. So now we got to.
No, I respect your job. I don't respect you.
Right.
No, I'm kidding. Okay.
Hey, by the way,
I love you, Gary. I feel bad, but and I don't know if this gadget thing is something. I'm not trying to derail it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're trying to get something going. I just thought it was just something. I don't know. I just thought it was goofy.
By the way, I got to tell a funny story about Ralph that I love. When he was talking to Jason before, and Jason used the word laud, he goes, I don't know what that means, to laud something. We had such a great moment. We were working on the CBS TV show. We were working with a producer that nobody was getting along with. And it was just getting, there were like lots of arguments and fights and everything. And we're all in this big room. And Ralph just says to the guy, like, it's bullshit, this and that. And the guy goes, I don't know why you have to be so contentious. And Ralph goes, I don't even know what that means, and I don't like it.
Hey, it's Sal Governale, and on Wednesday's show, I was victorious in Win Sal's Money. I didn't even know I had money to give away. But anyway, the guys were saying that I should get a little more book smart, be more aware of history, but what's history going to do for me? Fuck history. Enjoy.
I do want to talk about Benji's girlfriend coming in and her competing with Sal and Win Sal's Money, which, Sal, I thought you were going to run away with, but you made it.
I pretty much did.
You did?
I think I got five questions right. They threw out two that Will fucked up on.
No. They threw it.
That would make it 3-2.
Here's how I saw it, for real. You got the Castro question, correct? You got that correct?
Yep.
So I'm not taking that one away. Which are the two they wanted to take away? They want to take away that one?
And Alaska.
Korea.
Korea
legitimately, if they would have said more information, please, I don't believe you would have known North Korea. You would have just go, Korea, it's fucking Korea.
Right.
So that one you would have lost. So I'm saying you won 4-2.
That's pretty good.
But look who you beat.
Well, you both knew the Wright brothers.
Yes, that's an easy one.
Both guessed Obama started the New Deal.
Obama started the New Deal.
Well, when you hear the New Deal, you could hear it almost like, hey, my man, we need a New Deal here. No, the lingo,
what?
New Deal. It just sounds like the brother lingo. When I'm not kidding you, I'm not being like I'm not being like stereotypical, but I'm just saying.
No, not at all.
That's exactly what you're
Hold on. That was your thought process? Like New Deal sounds like something Obama would say?
Sounds like a little bit of a jive talk. Hey, listen, we're in the White House now. We need a New Deal. A New Deal's got to go down.
Can I ask you a question?
That's the only thing that came to mind. New Deal.
You're not making a joke.
I'm not making it. I'm just saying the lingo kind of sounds like something Obama might say. He's a hip guy. I'm saying it in a hip sense, not in a black sense.
Can I ask you a question? Obama's been president for over a year now. Have you ever heard him talk like that or have used lingo like that in a whole year? Like, what's another example of that kind of lingo or talk?
He called Kanye West a jackass. That's pretty hip. I've never heard a president say, use foul language except for President Reagan when he said sons of bitches. I remember that. But I can see New Deal. New Deal sounds like a more modern term. I mean, it does. I can't see President Washington saying New Deal.
You know when the New Deal was?
No, I don't even know what the New Deal is.
Is it from the 30s or maybe the 40s?
Yeah,
I think it's from the late 30s.
It was FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
I was going to say it was FDR.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I know who he is. And there was another Roosevelt.
Yes. Who was that?
His son or his grandson.
What was his grandson or son's name?
Teddy Roosevelt.
There you go.
It must be his grandson.
Out of Long Island.
FDR. Wait. It's the other way around. Teddy Roosevelt. FDR's the grandson.
FDR's the grandson.
I think so. Because I think FDR was later on. Roosevelt was. I think so. I think FDR. I'm going to.
I know.
Final answer: FDR is the grandson.
Sounds hella smoky.
I know.
I know.
There's no point for this.
I know. Howard asked you about it, and you explained it a little bit. But you admit you're weak at history.
Yeah,
basic history.
I'm not. Yeah, this is not something.
Elementary school kind of history.
Like John suggested, you might not be able to get past fourth grade history.
I might not, but you know what? I'm not upset about it. I mean, it's just something that, it has no bearing on what I do. But see, sure, history's important to understand the future. Right, we have to study history to understand the future. But you know what? I don't care fucking Washington chopped down a goddamn cherry tree. It's not going to pay my mortgage.
But
fuck them.
Before you start this rant again, because you do go into these rants.
I'm explaining why.
You've told us.
Tapping into a weakness of mine, and it makes no sense to ask me about it.
But no, you've told me several times. I'm not going to quiz you, but you've told me several times that it's upsetting to you.
It is.
You don't like to be thought of as stupid, and it's upsetting to you. And we gave you books to look at, and you didn't seem interested in them.
Because I don't have the time. I don't have time to wipe my ass anymore.
Sal, what about your sons? They're learning history now.
They sure are.
So why not learn with them?
I don't know. I mean,
do you sit down and do homework with them? Or
yes,
help
I
with
do.
Homework?
Absolutely.
But
history hasn't really come up. You know what they're doing now with history? They're kind of like reading a paragraph, and then they have to break down the paragraph and answer multiple choice questions within that paragraph. So they go. It's more of a reading comprehension and history combination in one.
What are the paragraphs about?
History. I don't know specifically. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I could bring in some of my son's stuff. But yeah, I help my kids with the homework. I go on Google a lot, and there's a lot of shit I don't know about, like paradiddles. Not paradiddles. There was some math thing that I had no idea about. Paradigms.
Paradiddle is a drumming thing.
Yeah, it's a drum. I think these are paradigms, I believe. And what the fuck are you, 5th grade paradigms? It's ridiculous. And who's going to use a paradigm?
Right, so going into
the CEO of IBM, you think he knows what a goddamn paradigm is?
So instead of saying,
I think he does.
Maybe, but it doesn't do him any good.
But so instead of saying, wow, look at what my kids are learning, you've decided because you don't know it, like, wow, my kids don't need to know this shit.
Well, no, it's not that I don't think they need to learn it. I'm glad they're learning it. I support what they're doing. I stand behind it, but it's kind of like, it kind of throws me for a curve.
Now, but going into this quiz, you felt, you even said you didn't study at all. You thought you were going to mop Sarah up pretty much.
First of all, I didn't study because I don't necessarily have a care for this particular thing. I'm not going to learn it. I don't need it. So I wanted to be myself. I wanted to tell, to answer things as best as I could. And I did know a lot of things. I know about Margaret Thatcher. I knew about what the other questions I got right. I can't even think of them now, but I knew a few things.
Is it the more honest answer that you do care about it, but you just don't care enough about it to learn it? But
yes.
You do care that you don't know it.
That is
because you try to push it off and go, I don't need to know. Who cares? I don't need it. But I think you do care, just not enough to learn it.
I would love to know it.
Right.
I just really I haven't dedicated time to learn it, and there are other things in my life that are priorities. So that's primarily it.
And Benji, you prepped Sarah, it sounded like, for this.
Well, I knew that there could be any 7 questions. So I went over like things in history with her. And
Speaker of the House was a smart move. That could have come up.
And some things that came up in the news. But I completely agree with Sal. I think he's a smart guy. We've talked about it online. I gave him a great quote. I think Einstein said, his paraphrase, that imagination is much more important than knowledge.
So if knowledge isn't that important, why would you suggest to Sarah that she watch Chris Matthews to learn more?
Oh, to get ready for this particular contest.
Oh, so you didn't want her to do it because you wanted her to be smarter. You wanted her to be ready for this.
No, I think she's a very intelligent person, and I think she has Well, I think she is, JD, and I don't. Maybe if you get to know
Teddy laughed.
Well, I know, but I'm talking to you because
But I'm saying, would you continue to ask her to watch shows like that, or you don't really care? You just for the contest?
It was just I thought it was a good prep for the contest. I suggested 3 things. We went over history.
Mm-hmm.
I said, read a newspaper every day, and watch Chris Matthews or some sort of news show, and we did some geography stuff online.
Were you worried that Sal was going to blow her out, like beat her 7-0?
No. I mean, I just wanted her to do really well, and she did. I mean, she did. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ask the question again.
I said, were you worried that Sal was going to blow her out 7-0 and embarrass her?
I didn't think he would blow her out, but I wanted her to do well. I really wanted her to win.
And so, do you think she did well, okay, or not so good?
Well, I think she did well. That she came across great on the show. And she even told me, she was like, you know what, I just want to get 2 right. If I get 2 right, I'll feel really good about it. And so I think she had a fun time. So that, to me, is the most important part.
Now, I thought during the whole segment, were very possessive of her and very protective of her.
Yeah, I get like that, which sucks. I hate that. Looking back on that, I hate that I was doing that.
Why? I mean, if you care about her...
Because I do care about her, but I don't need to... It just comes across as really douchey. And I wish I, wouldn't have been like that.
The weird thing I got out of today was up until Sarah came in today, in my mind I thought, like, okay, Benji's with her, but she's pretty cute and he's digging the sex and she and he likes her, but like there's no big deal. But I actually saw a deeper relationship that I thought Benji was pulling my leg about. Did you see it?
Yes. And I also saw, I think I saw a little bit of jealousy on your part when it came to Sal and her being into Sal.
Probably, but that's also kind of more fun. I mean, I know she thinks Sal's a great guy, and she thinks he's a fun guy and everything. But I was kind of having more fun with that.
I think it's funny. Who in this room wants their wife to touch Sal's dick? The fact that it was even up for discussion or for debate is funny to me.
Yeah, where'd that come from, Sal?
She has an obsession with my penis.
But I think she thinks it's more funny. I mean, I think she is
it's real funny when it's in her mouth.
On Thursday's wrap-up show, all the talk was about the upcoming Super Bowl. Howard made a comment that he wants to watch the game alone and really doesn't understand why anyone would have a party or enjoy the game with other people. Well, Gary and Fred strongly disagreed, and it was a major debate. And naturally, we talked about it and had a good time with it. So here's what was said.
Gary, I've got to pick up where the show ended, which was the whole Super Bowl party conversation. And just to reset it for everyone, I guess Howard feels that Super Bowl parties are just not something he'd prefer to do. He'd rather just watch the game.
That's okay. Not prefer to do it is okay. It's when he gets to, and whoever does it is an idiot, is where I think people start to get offended.
And apparently you were offended, but Fred Norris was extremely offended.
I haven't seen Fred like that in a long time. He whipped out.
Whoa.
There's a great thing about Fred. This happened. I wish I could remember what the circumstances. This happened once before, but he and Robin got into some sort of disagreement on the air. This was, I don't know, like 7 or 8 years ago. Fred doesn't go for a pistol. He doesn't go for a rifle. Fred picks up a fucking bazooka.
That was a blitzkrieg. I mean, he hit Howard with everything.
Fred goes 0 to 60 so fast. It's so awesome.
And I know Ralph called in and backed up Howard to the surprise of not a lot of people, and I think Levy had Howard's side too. But is it
Bob Levy?
Yeah, he called.
That's
in
who that
too.
was. I didn't. I heard the other guy call.
But is it because Howard isn't invited to these types of things? Hasn't hung at them before?
No.
Isn't a sports fan? Where does it come from?
Howard didn't grow up in that environment. He had friends when he grew up, but maybe they weren't all sports friends. His father wasn't really into sports, and if he was, I don't know that his father, this all comes from how you grow up. Your father, your uncles, your brothers, you sit around the TV, you watch football. When you get to be a teenager, you do it with your friends. When you go to college, you do it all with your friends. And I just don't think he's had that in his life. So I can understand why he doesn't see the value of it for him. But I mean, turn on the fucking TV. Every advertisement on TV for the last month is about whether you need beer or chicken wings or food or Tostitos or anything for the Super Bowl party. I mean, it's not like everyone's nuts.
JD, are you a Super Bowl party kind of guy? Because you're a loner at times.
Yeah, you know what? I have been, but it's not like a big thing for me. The past few years I've had to be in bed during the Super Bowl, or I'm already at work. So it's I could see how it's. I know it's a big party day, though.
There's only one thing that I would say about it. I went through this when the Jets were in the AFC Championship game. We talked about having a party that day, and I said, I don't want to have a party. I don't want to tend to people. I want to watch the game. So what I did is I had a bunch of guys over who were all Jet fans because that's a different environment than a party. Do you know what the difference is, John?
Yes, I do.
And John, let's tell everyone, John, how you watched the Super Bowl last year.
Well, I'm sort of extreme when it comes to this, but I was in lockdown mode last year. My wife and my kids were the only people anywhere near me when it came to the Super Bowl because the Steelers were playing, and I wanted to watch the game, and I didn't want to entertain, and I didn't want to talk. I wanted to watch the game.
But let me ask you a question: if you were living in Pittsburgh and your 4 best friends were Steelers fans, would you have had them over?
Possibly.
See, you don't have a bunch of any of the people who came over to watch the game with you. If they're not hardcore Steelers fans, I understand why you wouldn't want them there.
Yeah, but in general, when it comes to this, I do on Super Bowl Sunday, being a big football fan, I want to watch the game, and I don't like getting distracted with small talk and whatever else, and hearing someone, the Saints are the team in the brown jersey. Like, I don't have patience.
Yeah,
for
those
that.
people aren't allowed in the room.
Well, but you have a great situation because you have a room where it's all game, and then the rest of the house you could be whatever else.
But Howard seemed almost to give that as a reason afterwards because he wanted to pay attention to the game. It seemed like at first it was about, do you want to hang out with people in your house? Not about whether is this the best watching experience if you want to pay a lot of attention to detail.
Listen, here's the bottom line. Howard's just not that interested. He's more interested in football now than he was 10 years ago. He seems to have, acquired some passion for the game. But it's not if Howard missed the Super Bowl, I don't think it would be upsetting to him. He'd be like, I don't know, if his car broke down or something, he couldn't watch it. I'd be devastated if I missed it. I don't have a team that's playing that I give a shit about.
Well, the first thing that I sort of judge is, are you here to watch the commercials or are you here to watch the game?
Oh.
Because the commercials seem to be its own event right now. And yeah, it's nice. It's, I guess it helps pass the time. And the second question is, are you here for the halftime show or are you here to watch the game? I want to watch the football game and I want to be with people whose main focus is the game. And if it's towards the end and it's kind of close, you want to be able to pay attention.
All right, so here's what happened at my house last year. It was the first year that I had the theater, the man cave, and the whole thing going. Had a house full of people, lots of kids, some of Lucas's friends, some of Jackson's friends, families we knew. There's the man cave and there's the theater. So the hardcore fans were in the theater, right? Watch the game. Yeah, we were watching the commercials. Springsteen at halftime, everybody piled in. And it was great. It was almost like watching a concert. He was great. It was the right person to watch that way. Then everybody left. Then it got to be around 9:30. And people who didn't give a shit about sports went home, including some spouses, meaning some of the wives went home with the younger kids and some of the guys stayed because it was a really close game last year. And I remember looking around, and it was a wonderful experience for me. Everybody that was left at the end of the game were hardcore fans.
Yeah, the last 2 Super Bowls, too, have been extremely tight. Probably 2 of the best ever, which came down to the last minute in both cases. Right. So if it's a blowout kind of game, then I'm more like, all right, whatever. But if it's a close game, I want to watch it. We got a ton of calls on this. Let's talk to Barry in Pennsylvania. Barry, you're on the wrap-up show.
Well, good morning. Thanks. I love your show. It's really terrific. Question for you, though. As a listener, you get to hear Howard's emotions maybe more than you do in the studio. How do you take it? Do the guys take it personally when he says he really doesn't want to be with you or go to your house?
I think Fred takes it the most personally. I used to take it personally, and then I get that sometimes he's pushing a button. But he's managed to push Fred's button the hardest out of all of us.
I know, but you take a lot of ribbing, and you're a hell of a guy for doing it.
But the other thing too is if Howard just says he doesn't want to hang around with me, I'm like, hey, I'd love to have you, but I got a whole bunch of other people that are more than grateful, happy to hang around.
But, Gary, over the past few years, you've gotten a lot more closer to Howard socially, outside, that kind of thing. Whereas I don't know if he and Fred have that type of relationship.
And I don't
all.
either. And that's sort of the interesting part, that we've been together for 25 years and we don't even know who's got what relationship. Like if Fred goes over there to his house, I don't know.
Once I remember Howard saying something about he went to Fred's apartment. And that was like a surprising thing for him to say. Like, I don't imagine Howard just going and Fred say, hey, let's hang out for the day.
But do you agree with Gary that Fred takes it the most personally when Howard talks about not wanting to hang or be with anybody from the show?
Yeah, he does seem to get upset about it. Whereas I think a lot of people just say, it's just another joke.
And actually, the man of the hour just walked in. If anybody takes it personally, Fred, when Howard says he doesn't want to hang with you, he doesn't want to be with you socially, and Gary said you probably take it the most personally of anybody here.
Quite honestly, I don't make a liar out of Gary this morning. No, I don't.
It just seems like it, because I don't even know if it's about not wanting to hang around with you. I think Fred gets more upset when they paint him as like the lunatic. Like what did Robin say?
Geez, let's have a show of hands in the room. Who wants to be painted as a lunatic?
Nobody. No. I understand that, but I'm saying
I'm just having fun back. I'm assuming that when it's being tossed at me that it's fun, and I figure, well, this is where we're going with this, so let's have fun and toss it back.
You didn't hesitate today, Fred. You just went right after Howard, and
well,
again, everybody.
If somebody's going to slap you, don't you slap them back? I don't know.
Well, there's a slap, and then there's a haul back and punch.
I never know what my strength is. I never know how strong I am.
Oh,
My wife has always told me that sometimes I say things and I'll go, What did I say? She goes, did you have to say that? And I go, I didn't think about it. Okay, maybe I was a little strong. I don't know.
Now, why don't you think Howard can relate to having a Super Bowl party or hanging out and watching with friends?
I don't know. That's a question you'd have to ask Howard. I have no idea why he doesn't find fun in that. And there's a lot of things that other people do that I don't necessarily find fun, and I don't really find fault with him for that. I really don't.
Now, when you're do you want to watch the game, or are you okay with sort of being social and hanging with people, or does it matter who's playing?
Well, you know what it is? It has two different dynamics. If it's like New York teams that are in it, or a New York team is in it, obviously you're a lot more excited. You want to kind of like, talk about the game or whatever, and, you just root for your team. It's like team spirit or whatever. If it's two teams that I really don't have a lot of feeling for, then, it's like, okay, I'll watch the game. To me, it's like, if the Yankees are in the World Series, I'm all there. If it's two other teams I don't really give a shit about, I'll watch it, but I'm not as emotionally involved.
All right, let's go back to the phones. We'll talk to Ryan in Ohio. Ryan, you're on the wrap-up show.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Good, Ryan. How are you?
I'm having a good time. I just was calling about Howard and Super Bowl Barry, Ralph. Howard seems to think that anything that guys do normally is not right, and that him going to the shrink, or he's probably going to get his nails done during the game. But yeah, it all seems like regular guy stuff is not Howard's gig. But you're not as much of a man as he is because you can't run 27 miles. What do you guys think about that?
That's quite a postulation.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just like a guy thing. This goes back to the DePace Gary argument the other day. It's like, why would you do something that I wouldn't do? With a lot of our show arguments. Like, why would you do something I'm not into that? Why would you be into that?
Yeah, again, I was with Howard up until the part where he said, well, it's not for me, but anybody else who does is a moron.
This is a Howard TV original production. On this episode,
Richard Christie ties the knot.
I now pronounce you husband and wife.
And Howard ventures into Times Square. Or does he?
Hey, Howard. How you doing, dude? Fan for many years. Oh, glad to hear that.
What's your problem?
Testing, 1, 2.
Baba Booey.
Yeah.
Hey-oh, yeah.
I met my wife on the last day of the Stern Show at K-Rock. She was mutual friends with Jason and Will and everybody because she had been an intern before I worked for the Stern Show, so we had never met while she was an intern. It was a little while after that we went on our first date. We lived together for a few years as well, so we knew, I knew she was the one for sure. I chose Sal as my best man because he's my best friend and he is somebody that I can trust, as crazy as that may sound to other people.
I was totally blown away because, he has so many great people in his life and he's in touch with so many wonderful people because he has this charismatic personality, and for him to choose me out of everyone that he's been with was really, really touching.
My wife and I chose the venue Sequoia because it's a restaurant that we love. We've been there many times. We love the area of South Street Seaport. We wanted to go somewhere that meant something to us and also somewhere that was very, very New York. On the day of the wedding, everything was ready. There wasn't really a lot to stress over.
Wedding time, folks.
We wanted to have a friend of ours marry us, and our friend was Mr. She.
This is our Reverend right here. Reverend, let's go. Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Recently ordained on Thursday.
Yeah, I know. One of the maitre d's brought us food and beer, and Richard brought his own beer, which was pretty funny. And we drank beer. We had a good time.
Cheers. Richard, to a great time.
Yes.
Wonderful
Congratulations.
day. You and your wife? When you say, do you, Richard, is
Yes,
it the man first?
it's the man first, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
You know why it's the man first? Because for the rest of your life, it's going to be ladies first. So
enjoy time.
To me, marriage is like having a roommate you can't get rid of. And for Richard to get actually married after everything that I've discussed was kind of bittersweet.
I don't know anybody else who hates marriage more than Sal, and that's who I picked as my best man.
I love marriage. It's my wife I'm not crazy about.
If you look at the statistics and you read the papers every day and those murder-suicides and everything else that comes with it, let's just hope for the best.
This is Sal's favorite part of the whole
really
wedding.
looking forward to
doing
this.
my makeup.
Yep.
As a lot of people know, Sal is an expert when it comes to makeup. He wears a lot of makeup, which he doesn't like me to mention to people.
The one thing about Richard is that he has very, very white eyes. And people always say, why does he have white eyes? Like, what, are you teabagging him on the beach? No, he just happens to be that way. I had the idea through somebody else, through a makeup artist, to apply makeup to Richard's face.
Ah, splendid and beautiful. You're gonna look like a superstar. I tell you, I should be a professional makeup artist. RuPaul ain't got shit on me, motherfucker.
Do you need it on the top part of the eye too?
Yeah.
All right, makeup is done. You are ready for pictures, babe.
All right. Time to get dressed.
All righty. Let's make this happen, Rusty.
All right.
So I spent most of the afternoon with Kristen in her hotel room, watching her and all her bridesmaids get ready. We took a short 5-minute limo ride to the wedding venue at South Street Seaport, and that's when the shit hit the fan. We did not know there was a huge electronic music concert going on, and we had to rush Kristen through this crowd, trying to make sure nothing got ruined or damaged, and get her up to the restaurant at South Street Seaport. I dropped her off in her dressing room and then went to check out the real action, Richard and Sal getting ready.
Hey, look at there, Mr. Pumpkin.
Hey, this is for you, my friend.
Are you jealous, Mike?
No.
He's putting the flower
You
on
guys
it.
look awesome.
Mike's gonna get deflowered later.
I told the girls they look so amazing. I
He
want
was
to turn
deflowered
straight.
long ago.
Oh my God, I'm giving away my wife. I'm gonna cry.
All right.
Button it up.
Yeah, I'll fix yours while you fix mine. 6 o'clock came, and I'm just shaking in my boots, and I'm trying not to show it. And I walk into the front of the room, and I'm standing there. And now there's a whole group of, 150 people just staring back at me, and I'm just lost.
We really weren't prepared. The guy who was helping us out, getting us the beer and the food and whatnot in the back, was the same guy that said, okay, you grab her, you grab her, you grab him, you go like this, you go like that. It was like a retarded chicken dance to wedding music. We really weren't exactly sure what to do, but it all came together in the end.
It was really cool to walk into the room where the ceremony was and to have people cheering, and it was cool. it was fun. It was like almost like a comedy show when you walk out on stage and people clap for you and stuff. And so it made me very comfortable, and it was really cool. And right when that happened, I was like, oh, this is going to be fun, and it's going to be loose, and that really calmed me down a lot. When the doors opened at the back of the room where the ceremony was held and I saw my wife, I was just blown away. She looked so beautiful, and I wanted to take it all in and just remember that moment, and I really didn't think about anything else and just looked at her and realized how lucky of a guy I am. And for anybody out there that's married, I'm sure they know, that moment when you first see your wife, it's incredible.
I finally realized, holy cow, I'm up. So I reached for my notes, and I'm like, dearly beloved. We're gathered here today to witness the exchanging of marriage vows of Kristen and Richard. I started to talk about Richard. I mentioned something about him and how we met, and I threw a joke in there. I don't even remember what it is, and thankfully I got a couple chuckles. And I always knew him simply as Richard, not as Richard from the show. He was always well-mannered, polite, and respectful, so he's not from around here in New York.
This man could perform at Carnegie Hall. That's how good he is. It was different, it was unorthodox, it was hilarious, it was everything a wedding should be.
Okay, now, will the best man present me with the rings?
These are Christmas. Thanks. This is too Christmas. You're shaking. I know, I'm shaking. I'm sorry.
We didn't really know exactly what was going to happen with the ceremony, so I got a little anxious.
Do you, Richard, solemnly declare that you take Kristen to be your lawfully wedded spouse?
I do.
Well, I'm not done yet. Honor. He's excited. I'm excited. You promise to love, honor, cherish, and keep her for as long as you both shall live.
I do.
All right.
That was part of the fun of it. We were just going to do it on the fly, see how it goes, and just have fun with it. My vows, I wanted them to be very serious and heartfelt and just to show how I felt for my wife, but I also wanted them to be funny.
As Stryper sang in the song Calling on You, you made my life complete. In the end, all went well, so very thankful. By the powers very recently vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife.
After Mr. She pronounced us husband and wife, it didn't even feel real. It was so crazy, and it felt amazing, but it's like you're floating on air, and to hear all the people clapping and cheering and the music, it was just surreal. But also, I made sure I took it all in. I was like, wow, this is really amazing.
There's lots of guys that have wanted to come on the show as Howard lookalikes.
So this guy I was talking to you about, like I said, his whole letter to me is not like he's not trying to be you. This is his rap. His rap is he looks like you, and all these people approach him, and he's like, I tell them I'm not Howard. So like I thought the more interesting thing was.
It sounds like he's getting approached by better people than I get approached.
Well, he says, and I'd be curious, maybe, tell me if it's worth a pre-interview. He said Brian Gumbel came to talk to him at Balducci's. Tony Bennett talked to him at the Admirals Club, and Chuck Scarborough on opening night of the Met Opera. He goes, at least once a week I get a stranger begging for a photo. I tell them I'm not Howard, but they don't care. Their brother, mother, sister, husband is a huge fan and will get a kick out of it. Half the time when I deny being you, people refuse to believe me. They're thinking, what an asshole. So I didn't know if you thought there was anything worth even pre-interviewing him to see if any of that stuff is...
Clay, see how he sounds on and see what and get back to me on him. Maybe it'll be fun.
I think Howard passed on him the first time, and then he gave us a couple of interesting stories about, fooling Tony Bennett and Brian Gumbel and a few more people, and we were like, you got to have him up. And then when Howard saw the pictures, like, yeah, let's have him in.
Here's this guy who looks like me. His name's Ron Broer.
Oh, my God.
I guess he kind of does.
When Ron first walked into the studio, I recognize that the curly hair and his height and the fact that he was wearing glasses might lead people to believe that that's Howard if you just glanced quickly.
Well, I thought it was depressing that Ron really does look like me, because Ron is not, in my mind, the best-looking guy, but that's what I look like.
My first reaction was, yeah, he looks a little like me. I can see why people would think that.
The shorts are what is really getting me. Nothing. The hair, no. The curls are too tight. The sunglasses aren't his sunglasses. The nose is not the same. The boots, maybe Howard would wear boots like that, but the cutoff shorts are really killing me. And this guy looks short. Is he short?
Tony said to me, the hairdresser, she goes, "Hey, Howard, my friend saw you walking around on 19th Street the other day in shorts. And it's this fucking guy. I don't know, you annoy the shit out of me." The whole thing's a nightmare because he's met people that I know, like Brian Gumbel, and then he goes, "I don't know you," and Brian feels like I snubbed him. It's a bit of a nightmare. I really don't like this. This is creeping me out.
For anyone to think that this man looks like my husband or believe that this man could actually be my husband is just the most disturbing thing ever for me to even wrap my head around.
So after I was on the show, I was asked to go out on the street with a camera crew and just walk around the Times Square area and see what happened.
When you put someone that looks kind of that closely like Howard with a camera walking in Times Square, I was amazed by how many people stopped him, screamed from tour buses, ran across the street. And it was one of those moments where you just are kind of blown away by the fact that someone can cause kind of such hysteria by doing absolutely nothing.
Thank you. Mostly I say, I'm not Howard, but if you want to take a picture, sure. If I'm in a real big hurry, I'd just be like, sure, yeah, okay. It's just quicker, easier.
Can I get a picture with you?
Sure.
Howard Stern.
How you doing, man?
How you doing?
What's
Nice
going
to meet you.
You too.
Hey, Howard.
How you doing, dude?
Fan for many years.
Oh, glad to hear that.
So, Howard Stern. What's good, baby? Chillin'? Give some love, brother. Give some love, man. What's good? What's your?
Wanna take a picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Whose phone is ringing? Your phone? Hey, hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
There you go.
How's Beth?
She's good.
She looks great in all the pictures I see in the Hamptons.
He's home?
The dinners she's hosting.
Wait. Yeah, oh, with the dogs.
Yeah.
The animal shelter thing, yeah. Thanks. Some people who want to take my picture, I just smile, let them take the picture, arms around each other. Some people, after they took the picture, I told them, I'm not Howard. I'm not Howard Stern.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Are you playing with me?
No, I'm really not. I'm really not Howard Stern.
Nice.
No, I know I look a lot like him, but I'm not.
I was like, no, you lied to us.
I gotta tell you something. Yes, sir. I'm a big fan. I'm not Howard Stern.
You're not?
No.
Oh, man.
You still want a picture?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. I don't care if you are. You look just like him.
If you're in New York and you're from out of town and this is your one opportunity to see a star, you're going to want to believe. And I'm sure that happens all the time.
It's New York, and you see a lot of celebrities sometimes, and they do walk alone. But Howard, he's almost to a different standard. I don't think he can go anywhere without being noticed. So, yeah, it's probably a little ridiculous that he'd be walking around Times Square by himself.
One of the most important things that my wife and I had talked to the venue about was that we wanted everybody to have fun and to always have a drink in their hand. Because to me, drinking equals fun. It was amazing that George and Brad were able to make it. I mean, they're very close friends of Kristen and I, and it was really an honor that they were able to work their schedule around so that they were able to come to our wedding. I really wish that Howard, Robin, and Fred and Gary would have been able to make it, but I totally understand that they couldn't.
We love Richard and we love Christy. And that weekend, unfortunately, we could not attend the wedding.
I think Richard knows that I, love him at work, but not being at the wedding comes off as very cold and callous to our audience. The audience is very critical of my actions, like they've never done anything wrong. But no, I wasn't there.
I just imagined that, they were going to have a good time anyway, and they didn't really seem to care whether I was there or not. So I'm not sorry. I missed it.
I am very bummed that I couldn't make it to Richard's wedding, and I explained to him why, and he understood, but I really wanted to be there, and I'm sorry I couldn't be.
The one thing I liked best about this wedding was hanging out with Richard's dad. He is so much fun.
Well, what's been going on? You ain't been getting shot or nothing? No, same old manure in the sewer, Mr. Christie. It's the same old. Yeah, but you ain't been naked lately or getting shot?
Do you look forward to that stuff? I can get naked for you now, sir. No. I'll be happy to teabag you. You're a cute looking fella.
The only thing greater to me than Richard Christie is a Richard Christie with a pussy. And that is, thus, Richard Christie's sister. And she is really sweet. She's real hot. She's a lot of fun. And we had a lot of fun.
When Richard kissed my taint, I was actually thinking of her. This is my inspiration.
We were almost a match made in heaven. Mrs. Christie, Richard's mom, was hanging out with us, and I love her dearly. And I just wanted to express to her how amazing her son is. And he wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. And what better way to compliment a mother for their incredibly talented, awesome son by saying,
The wonderful Mrs. Christie, the lady with the golden vagina who made the man who changed America with his brilliance, right?
If you say so.
Yes. There's geese that lay golden eggs. There's women that have golden twats. Golden twats make great guys, like Richard Christie.
Before we joined the reception, we did a lot of photos in between the ceremony and the reception. I didn't want to take too long because we wanted to get out there and just start partying with everybody and having fun. We hung out with our family, got all the pictures done, and had a few drinks, and then it was time to head out to the reception. Our first dance was to the song, Can I Have This Dance for the Rest of My Life? Unfortunately, because of copyright laws, I doubt that they'll be able to include that as part of this episode.
They brought the couples up to dance, and, I was solo, and High Pitch Mike was solo.
JD just pulls me and grabs me. And I thought, oh, wow, he finally is going to act on his emotions that he wants me. There was a bulge in his pants that I felt. When he was hip to hip with me, I felt something.
Usually JD doesn't really acknowledge the camera at all. But after a few drinks, he decided to dirty dance with me a couple of times.
I wanted him to feel part of it. He's a new guy around here, so I showed him a little what I'm capable of in the dance department.
So as the best man, I had to put together the best man speech, which to me was pretty simple to put together because it was straightforward and it was completely from the heart.
Richard, I am truly honored to be your best man. And for the rest of my days, you will be my best man forever. I love you. All right, he's not going to lick my taint tonight, so slow down, everybody. It takes a great woman to marry a man who once pooped in a coffee can and then baked it for fun. And it takes a great woman to marry a man who fantasizes about being chloroformed and depantsed by his fucking boss. But as I think about this, Kristen, you are not a great woman. You are a beautiful saint. You, like I, recognize that he is a brilliant, wonderful, loving human being with a heart bigger than Jason Kaplan's ass. To a life of nothing less than health, happiness, heavy metal, and haunted houses. I love you
I thought Sal's speech was very good. It's funny. I was laughing. I love the Jason Kaplan line. And I give it an A+.
My idea was to get a big staff picture. And I told Richard, and he was into the idea, so we made the announcement, got everyone together just for a photo, but it quickly turned into a sort of out-of-control mosh pit.
I know what a mosh pit is, where people get thrown around. I ain't seen anybody getting thrown around except like some drunken people on the dance floor dancing drunk. That was about it.
I think I might have thrown Ronnie around a little bit too hard, which is why he doesn't remember.
I love Ronnie, and especially when he's drinking, he's the coolest guy ever. And to watch him cut the rug and start dancing all over the place, that's the Ronnie I like.
Cutting the cake was fun, although by that time we had had a few drinks and my memory's a little spotty by then.
How about a nice hand for my services, Kristen and his company winning the cake?
I think we got some on our face, but I remember it was a delicious cake, and we actually also had red velvet cupcakes for dessert. They were just incredible. The bouquet toss was very planned out affair, and it was something that Kristen and I knew exactly who was going to get the bouquet.
3, 2, 1, go!
Gay marriage is now legal in New York, thankfully, and she really wanted him to catch the bouquet.
You can say that she threw it right towards me, but I think I just happened to be the lucky one who's about to get married next.
After the last song, it was hard to believe that it was the end of the wedding and it was over. And a lot of people said to me, you know, always be looking around and taking everything in and enjoying the moment because it goes by so fast. And it did go by fast, but I made sure that I enjoyed every second of it, and I made sure that my wife enjoyed every second of it, and hopefully all our friends and families enjoyed every second of it. And we really made the most out of the evening, and there was really no downtime. Everybody was always partying and drinking and having fun, and that was what was important. And the most important thing was at the end of the night that my wife had the perfect wedding, and she was so happy, and that makes me so happy.
As we're walking through Times Square, we get to GMA, Good Morning America. And I'm standing with him, and I say, just stand off to the side of Good Morning America, and let's just see if anybody bites.
This stage manager from the show came over and asked me if I would be in the shot by this food truck.
Are you going to walk into our shot? Do you want me to?
Wow. It's going kind of far.
And go in. Go in.
Next thing, they want to put me on the air. Would I be okay going on the show? Sure. So then I'm standing there in that area, the restricted area, and George Stephanopoulos comes out.
Check. How you doing, man? How are you? Good to see you. Wow.
Hey! Everybody here, back here, guys.
He pretty soon realizes that I'm not Howard. And he says, almost.
He knows.
George calls the producer over. He tells him it's not Howard. The guy takes the mic, asks him, says thanks and sees him on his way. And he never actually got on with George. George sniffed him out.
What Howard told me, he's met George a bunch of times and maybe even had him to the house. And it would always be insulting if George thought that was Howard when he's met Howard.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't wander around trying to get on Good Morning America. So, as you can see, this is causing me great pain.
Howard would never wander alone around in Times Square, and sorry, not Howard.
I suppose if somebody looked a lot like Howard Stern and really wanted to max out on it, you could do that and do really bad stuff.
Get into events, probably get reservations at restaurants, anything like that. If you got the balls to go for it, why not?
He could go into places, demand things just because he's famous, leave no tip, be obnoxious, treat people poorly. And believe me, that would be reported in the press.
If you wanted to be really funny, you fuck some girls and say you're Howard. And then Howard wants to do more than just better. He better be good at it.
Fucking Beth would be the greatest thing in the world. Like, if you were a Howard lookalike. Or if you could trick people for a second. Like, yeah.
This is the best of the wrap-up show. A recap and behind-the-scenes look with Jon Hein and Gary Dell'Abate. The best of the wrap-up show begins now.
Hey, it's Gary Dell'Abate. On Monday's wrap-up show, we talked about Robin Quivers has a bit of a medical condition. We're not sure what it is. And we had a discussion about what it would be like if Robin weren't part of the show anymore. Also, we talked about Jimmy Kimmel sitting in for the first 2 hours of the show. All that and more on the wrap-up show.
Jason in Ohio, you're on the wrap-up show.
Hello?
Hey, Jason.
If Robin does happen to have something wrong with her, hopefully she doesn't. But if say they do have to go in and remove something, do you think she would do it? Would she do it during the vacation to do that, or do you think she'd do it? If she has to when the show's going on, or
I think
because I've never ever heard the show without Robin being there.
I think if it's life-threatening, she would go under the knife tomorrow, and Howard would make do. If she can schedule it for a vacation, I'm sure she will. But Howard did say, and he wasn't kidding, he does not want to do the show without Robin. He needs and wants Robin. I mean, he could do the show without everyone if he really wanted to, but ultimately he wants Robin there. He needs Robin there. And it's funny because if you had heard Howard say, oh, you think it's cancer, I'll give you odds, you'd think he just doesn't care. And it's a really cold, unfeeling thing. But that's just the way the show works. And they did speak about it over the phone over the weekend. And hopefully it ends up being something minor and it'll just be a funny story for Robin to tell. Laura in Palm Beach, you're on the wrap-up show.
Oh, John?
Hi, Laura.
Hey, how are you? I just wanted to talk about Robin and how it is unbelievable that she showed up for work today.
Well, she went to a wedding. Was it in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
With the catheter and the bag. But yeah, she doesn't miss
You know
work
what I
for
mean?
practically
Like,
anything.
There's so many. I won't say like of you, but people at the show that have called in and said, "Oh, I don't feel good."
Who are you referring to?
Well, I mean, I guess Artie.
Well, yeah, but that was a...
Yeah, Artie had other issues going on.
We realized that Artie wasn't actually, didn't have a cold.
Yeah. So I know what you're saying, but I do think it's really amazing. I just wanted to tell you that.
It is cool. I think a lot of us fall into that Robin's sort of way more than not,
Really?
Yeah, like somebody said, well, Gary, if you had a colostomy bag, would you come to work? I'm like, well, yeah, because I'm going to have it now and I'm going to have it in a year. I can't not work, so you might as well just come and start.
I'm not so physically amazed by it. I mean, it's impressive, but it's like psychologically got to be tough that she doesn't know what's going on right now, and it could be something really scary.
But I think for all of it, listen, I can't speak for her, but I can speak for me. Being at the show is one of the things that takes your mind off of that other stuff. I would if she were sitting around wondering, oh, I wonder what's going on. The worst thing would be to not be here sitting in bed wondering what's going on. That's the worst thing you could do.
You sounded a little out of it, Gary, with that interview that Lieberman did.
Hey, I got to point something out, by the way, because I saw a lot of people on Twitter commented about this, and Jason, when I got back to the office, was really mad. I said it was okay for Lieberman to come, and I said it was okay for him to interview me. People think like he snuck in.
You thought Lieberman ambushed you?
Exactly. No, it was all cool. I mean, I said, yeah, come and get me. But, I was totally high.
How scary was it that you didn't remember having that conversation?
It was very scary because I never I've never been one of those people who gets so drunk and goes, "Oh, I blacked out, man." You know, I remember everything, and I really did not know. I woke up, and the first thing I saw was the nurse, and I said, "What time is it?" She said, "That's the fourth time you've asked me that question." And I said, "Sorry." And then Mary said, "You know, what about the thing you just did with John Lieberman?" I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "He just interviewed you." And I'm like, "No, he didn't." And even when we got home, like the whole day went through and the whole weekend, and I just didn't remember it till, you know, he sent it to me and I heard it. You should have heard it at the end. They're like, "Who's this?" And they point to me. I'm like, "That's the gardener."
Now, do you don't remember that at all?
No.
Do you have any idea why you referred to her as a
Yeah,
gardener?
I listened to it again. It was probably me cracking a joke. Before we left that morning, Mary was working on it. We built a garden.
Oh, okay.
And we had it built, and we had a fence put around it. And so she said, "I'm going to plant today. Is it too early?" I mean, for me to think Mary was my gardener would mean I'd have to have a gardener, and I don't.
JD, I was commenting earlier on your laughter when those clips of Gary were played after his colonoscopy. I don't think I've ever heard you laugh that hard.
Oh, I mean, I've laughed hard before, but yeah, it's just someone sounding out of it, and it was funny. Well, yeah, I laughed.
Just struck your funny bone?
Is that what you brought me down here for? Because I laughed at Gary.
That was one thing.
Sounding groggy?
No, that was one thing I brought you down for.
Oh, okay. What are the others?
Well, you're probably the biggest Kimmel fan here, and that's why I wanted you down here.
All right. He's a funny guy.
I don't know if that's true.
I think he is.
I think so?
Yeah, I do. I was going to ask you, though, about your relationship with Jimmy, because you guys, I mean, I know you're a huge fan of his, but you sort of had a little bit of a rocky road.
Yeah, we got over that. We hung at Howard's house last summer. I think Jimmy's really funny. I get jealous sometimes when I see the bits he's able to pull off as far as the talent that he gets. It bums me out because I wish we were in L.A. because, I love what he's doing. I love watching that stuff. I love, I'm fucking Matt Damon, et cetera, et cetera.
I think he's the best of the late night guys. It surprised me when I started thinking about it. I think he's the best. He's the best one. And I'm talking about Letterman and Conan and all the other guys.
He's got an edge to him. Like, I love watching Letterman. I do. I'd say Letterman's like the go-to guy for me, but Jimmy's got an edge that Letterman's just gone in a different direction. You mature, you do things a different way. And I like Jimmy Show. I just don't get to see it enough.
What's great about Jimmy when he comes in is that he always comes in prepared because he's a huge fan of the show. And when Howard asked him about chumming up with Oprah, Jimmy immediately turned around and said, "So you're in a conversation with Kathie Lee." And everyone was like, "Whoa, where did that come from?" Did you know that Howard had talked to Kathie Lee?
I did. I don't know. It was a period of time in our lives, and he didn't goof on her for no good reason. He goofed on her because of the way she put herself out there. So he's matured and he's past that now, and it was just a different time and place. But I don't know. I used to enjoy what he did.
But the feud with Kathie Lee wasn't like some feuds where it was like, wasn't it all? It was all just like
she didn't do a thing. She did not do a thing to us in any way to rankle us. It's not like Chevy Chase went on the Larry King show and talked shit behind Howard's back. She didn't do anything except live. So I understand. Like Jimmy goes, "Oh, I see. So you're willing to forgive people who haven't done anything to bother you?"
And Howard said, "Yeah, it's the ones who do stuff to bother me that I'm never going to forgive, or hardly ever."
But see again, like Howard and Robin thought that we were mean to Soupy Sales, and Howard apologized and made up with him before he passed away. But I felt, and Fred's more with me on this one, Soupy was sort of not that nice to us. It wasn't that we were picking on a guy for no reason. But Howard's like, I was out of my mind because I wanted to own everything, et cetera, et cetera. But, he could have been a little nicer too. But, hey, it's not my relationship.
What did you think about James Kimmel buying that stuff for Eric the Midget off of his wish list?
Well, I understand that Jimmy's a big fan, and I understand that he wants to help out a fan of somebody from the show. But it's, it gives Eric the idea that you just stick your hand out and shit drops in it.
Why are you shaking your head, JD?
Because he's helping Eric do. It's just not. I don't like it.
Why? Like Eric would say, "I don't want to be your charity case."
Exactly.
But give me your charity.
Yeah. He doesn't want to hear it from anyone else. But if Jimmy Kimmel does it, then it's okay.
Do you have a problem if a rich kid gets a car from their parents or something like that?
No, because that's